Welcome to Care to Watch. We're doing Care to Cook today where we're making individual Yorkshire puddings.
So to start off with, we're going to go through the ingredients that you require. So you require a pinch of salt, a little splash of water, flour, and it is very important that it is plain flour, not self-raising, that's cheating, some sunflower oil, milk, and eggs.
Lovely, and the equipment we'll need to make these today, we're going to need a jug, we're going to need a knife, a fork and a spoon, we're going to need some weighing scales, we're going to need some deep Yorkshire pudding tins, an oil brush, and we're going to need some oven gloves, and also don't forget your whisks as well.
So to make your 6 individual Yorkshire puddings today, you will need 2 eggs, 100 grams of plain flour, just a pinch of salt, a splash of water, and 100 ml of milk. The oil is to go into the pan whilst you make your Yorkshire puddings.
So now we have to get our oven ready. So we're going to need to turn our ovens on to 220 degrees to get them hot enough for the Yorkshire puddings. But now it's time to wash our hands before we do any food prep. So now our oven is up to temperature and our hands are nice and clean, it's time to get the Yorkshire pudding tins ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a small bit of oil into each of the sections, and you'll need about 6 for your 6 Yorkshire puddings. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a small bit of oil into each, and then you're going to use your oil brush to ensure that the oil is brushed up all the sides. And you can do that for all 6 of them.
Okay, so some people like to use a mixing bowl. I like to use a jug because then you can pour it straight in with less mess. So we start off by getting our eggs. So if you crack your 2 eggs into the jug, making sure, if possible, not to get any of the eggshells in. If you do, then just use your fork to dish out the eggshells. If you give that a bit of a whisk until the yolks have cracked, then if we just get a splash of water and then just a pinch of salt. Now we need to start adding the flour. Some people like doing it little bit by little bit, however I just throw all mine in at once. Then we can start adding the milk. And now it's just time to whisk. You keep whisking it until all the lumps have gone. And what consistency you're looking for is quite a liquid consistency, so it should fall through the fork. If it is still a little bit thick, you can use more milk to thin it out. Justine, being the good Yorkshire lass that you are, do you have any history on the Yorkshire puddings?
I do have some history, Mel. So the history of Yorkshire puddings actually goes all the way back to the 1700s, when Yorkshire puddings were actually called dripping puddings. And what they used to do is they used to sit under the meat that was cooking on a fire, and it used to catch all the drippings that came from the meat and all the flavour, and then people used to use it to flavour their gravy, for example.
Excellent, thank you very much for that, Justine. So now, if you can see, it's fallen nicely through. If you do put a little bit too much milk in, then you can always add just a little bit more flour, just to get it to that right consistency. So now, we're ready for pouring the mix.
So now that our pan has oil in it, what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the oven to make sure that it's nice and warm for the Yorkshire puddings. So we're going to put this in for about 5 minutes. So when we've carefully taken the Yorkshire pudding tray out of the oven with our oven gloves, what we're going to do is we're going to put the Yorkshire pudding mix into the oiled sections. So you're going to want to fill these about 1/3 of the way in each one. You can always top up some of the others if they do look a bit lower than the others. And now that's ready to go in the oven.
Controversial, I've put mine a lot higher than that.
So once your Yorkshire puddings are ready, you can take them out of the oven with your oven gloves and then you can add them to your dinner. First though, we must make sure that our hands are clean from all our food preparation. So I'm going to put mine on my dinner here and I'm going to put on some lovely gravy as well. However, if you do feel like a bigger Yorkshire pudding, you can make them in these larger tins here and they will come out with one giant Yorkshire pudding, just like Mel's got over here.
Yeah, so here's one I prepared earlier. Use exactly the same amount of quantities that we've just been through. We'll give you one large pudding. Now, there is an alternative, bit controversial, to having a Yorkshire pudding on your Sunday dinners, is the dessert. This is one that my kids love. So take one banana, and I just cut little bits, being very careful obviously not to cut yourself, all over the pudding. Nice and healthy with bananas in there as well. Then I get some squirty cream, give it a good shake. And give a generous amount of squirty cream on there. Honey. And just give it just a little drizzle over, and this one just for a little bit of colour, some sprinkles. And there you have it, how you can make a dessert from a Yorkshire pudding.
Thanks for watching and enjoy your Yorkshire puddings.
And don't forget to share your photos with us. Oh my god, that looks amazing.
So good.